At 10:30 here in New York, welcome back, everyone. Unprecedented subpoenas for the White House. The House committee investigating Solyndra, approving that an unprecedented move in a vote divided along party lines, saying that they've been unable to get to the bottom of how the failing solar panel maker got $500 million in loans from taxpayers. The company's gone belly up. Congressman Stearns, Florida Republican on the House Energy and Commerce Committee. He is chairman of the subcommittee investigating Solyndra. And, sir, good morning to you and welcome to America's Newsroom.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, you are clearly not satisfied. What do you want to know?
Well, the subpoenas were issued yesterday, Bill. They were served yesterday, both to the Vice President's office as well as the President's office. And there's 4 things that we're looking at. Incidentally, these subpoenas have to be complied with by November 10th. The 4 things we're looking at, first of all, we'd like all communications between the investors in Solyndra and the White House. Secondly, we'd like to know the financial condition, communications when they're talking about the financial condition of Solyndra. And then thirdly, we'd like to know about the subordination, any communication dealing with the restructuring of this loan. And then fourth, we'd like to have anything that's involved with Solyndra in terms of later, shall we say, as they neared bankruptcy, what was the concern of the administration, what was the communication. So those are the 4 basic things we're hoping.
Let me take number 3 that you just mentioned there. This is from thehill.com. The Obama administration had already restructured the Solyndra loan guarantee in February as the company faced financial troubles. Under that agreement, private investors who agreed to put $75 million in the company would be repaid before the taxpayer if the company collapsed. Now, is that illegal?
Bill, in my humble opinion, it is, because the Energy Policy Act is one statement that clearly says that you cannot do that. And in fact, my argument that it's illegal has been buttressed by Mr. Berner, who is the Chief Financial Officer for the Treasury, under testimony, under oath, indicated in his 28 years experience working at the Treasury, he has never, ever seen a subordination of taxpayers' loan to outside commercial loans like Department of Energy did with Solyndra.
But some were reminding us during the auto bailouts that some of the loans were structured in a way where some people got paid before others. Would that fall in the same category, or is that different entirely?
That's the reverse, Bill. In this case, what happened is they took the taxpayers' money and preempted people, the bondholders that were involved with General Motors and Chrysler, and they pushed them out and they lost their money, and they used the taxpayer, in this case, the stimulus money for these auto companies to trump the private sector. So it was the reverse. So it's sort of ironical that the president would go back and take private outside and trump taxpayers when taxpayers were trumping the private sector in the automotive debacle.
Let me take it back to Solyndra now. The White House says 85,000 pages of documents have already been given to your committee. And after the subpoena went out yesterday afternoon, they gave 20,000 more on Thursday afternoon.
Well, they gave 20,000.
The question is, is it the president's BlackBerry that you're after?
Well,
is that where you believe you'll find your answers?
Oh, Bill, to answer your first question, the 20,000 pages came last Friday before the subpoena, and the documents you talk about are all technical. They're really not applicable to Solyndra, so it's really slow walking on the administration to say that they are pertinent, because there's nothing about Solyndra except for maybe a very few pages. To answer your question, at this point, the administration has to decide whether they're going to use executive privilege or comply. Now, of course, the BlackBerry, anything involved with his personal information, with his family, anything that would deal with national security, we're not interested in. But communication that's dealing with the subordination of taxpayers' money, dealing with the investors involved, any of that we would like to see, and I think that's pertinent to this case.
I'm out of time, but is it possible in the end the deal is entirely shady but not illegal?
I think the fact that they subordinate is illegal, and I think if we see, which is very disquieting and, shall we say, disturbing to see that campaign contributors, investors in Solyndra and other loan guarantees have access to the White House, and was the White House making decisions based upon political campaign considerations?
Okay, you said it, November 10th is the deadline. That's only 6 days away. Cliff Stearns, thank you for your time today. Appreciate you coming on. All right, 10:30.